Have you ever felt like your voice didn't matter? Like no matter how much you wanted to speak up, the words just wouldn't come out. Or worse, it felt like no one was listening? Tori-Amos, Silent All These Years, is a raw poetic journey through the weight of silence and the struggle to finally be heard. Today, we're breaking down the lyrics to uncover the quiet rage, the hidden strength, and the moments of self discovery that make this song so powerful. Whether you've loved it for years or you're just discovering it now, there's something here for anyone who's ever kept too much inside. Let's dive in. Tori Amos crafts a deeply personal and surreal opening verse that blends vulnerability, frustration, and dark humor. The line, "Excuse me, but can I be you for a while?" suggests a desperate desire to escape her own identity, possibly because her reality feels too painful or overwhelming. She's asking to step into someone else's shoes, maybe someone who isn't dealing with the same struggles she is. The next line, "My dog won't bite if you sit real still," feels like a half hearted reassurance, like she's trying to convince someone or herself that things are under control even if they're not. The dog could be symbolize her own emotions or fears. They won't bite as long as everything stays calm, but the tension is there. Then, the imagery gets even more intense with, "I got the Antichrist in the kitchen yelling at me again." This is a jarring, almost absurd metaphor, but it paints a picture of someone tormenting her in a place that's supposed to be safe, the kitchen. The Antichrist could represent an abusive figure, her own inner critic, or even societal expectations, something oppressive that won't leave her alone. The casual, "Yeah, I can hear that," makes it seem like this is a regular occurrence, something she's numb to by now. The next lines shift to a more ironic tone, "Been saved again by the garbage truck." Here, salvation comes not from anything profound, but from something mundane and noisy, maybe drowning out the yelling or symbolizing the cyclical nature of her struggles, garbage being taken out only to return. When she says, "I got something to say, but nothing comes," it's a heartbreaking admission of being silenced either by fear, trauma, or the weight of judgment. The final lines, "Yes, I know what you think of me. You never shut up. Yeah, I can hear that," show how consumed she is by others' opinions. It's like she's trapped in a loop of criticism, real or imagined, and even when no one's speaking, the words echo in her head. Overall, this verse is a raw snapshot of someone who feels trapped in her mind, in her circumstances, and in the way others perceive her. The lyrics mix surrealism with real pain, making her emotions feel both personal and strangely universal. The chorus is where Tori Amos blends fantasy and reality to capture a powerful moment of self discovery and defiance. The line, "But what if I'm a mermaid?" is a striking metaphor. Mermaids are mythical creatures, often symbolizing freedom, fluidity, and a duality of existence, part human, part something else. Here, it feels like she's imagining herself as something magical, something that doesn't quite fit into the ordinary world. It's a way of reclaiming her identity outside of the constraints placed on her, maybe by society, by a relationship, or by her own insecurities. The next line, "In these jeans of his, with her name still on it," adds a layer of painful realism. The jeans could symbolize an ex-lover's presence, something she's still wrapped up in, marked by someone else's ownership, her name still on it. It's a small but cutting detail, suggesting she's wearing someone else's life, someone else's past, and maybe even feeling like an afterthought. But then comes the shift. Hey, but I don't care because sometimes there's a flicker of defiance here. She's starting to push back against the weight of those feelings, even if it's just sometimes. The most powerful part is I hear my voice, and it's been here silent all these years. This is the heart of the song, the realization that she has a voice, that it's always been there, even if it's been stifled or ignored. The silence isn't just about not speaking, it's about not being heard or maybe not even recognizing her own strength until now. The chorus captures that fragile but transformative moment when someone starts to break free from invincibility, from being defined by others, and finally listens to themselves. It's a mix of sadness and triumph. She's still tangled in someone else's leftovers, the genes, but she's also daring to imagine herself as something extraordinary, the mermaid. And in that tension, she finds her voice. In the second verse, Tori Amos dives even deeper into themes of frustration, sarcasm, and the crushing weight of being misunderstood. The opening lines, "So you found a girl who thinks really deep thoughts. What's so amazing about really deep thoughts?" read like a biting critique of someone who fetishizes intelligence or depth in a superficial way. It's as if she's calling out a partner, or maybe society at large, for acting like her complexity is some kind of novelty, something to be praised but not truly seen. The sarcasm in "What's so amazing?" suggests that this admiration is hollow, that people like the idea of depth more than they actually engage with it. Then comes the jarring line: "Boy, you best pray that I bleed real soon. How's that thought for you?" which feels like a visceral, almost angry retort. The mention of bleeding could be a reference to menstruation, tying into themes of femininity and the biological realities that society often shies away from. But it's also a challenge. You want deep? Here's something raw and real. How do you handle it? It's a moment of confrontation, flipping the script on whoever is reducing her to some intellectual curiosity. The next lines, "My scream got lost in a paper cup. You think there's a heaven where some screams have gone," paint a haunting image of stifled pain. A paper cup is flimsy, temporary. It can't contain something as powerful as a scream. It's like her emotions are being muffled, discarded, or trivialized. The question about heaven adds a layer of bleak irony, as if she's asking whether repressed suffering just vanishes into the ether unanswered. There's a deep loneliness here, a sense that her pain isn't just ignored but disappeared. The verse ends with another punch of dark humor. "I got 25 bucks and a cracker. Do you think it's enough to get us there?" The absurdity of offering a cracker and a tiny amount of cash as a ticket to heaven, or escape, or salvation underscores how powerless she feels. It's a tragicomic moment highlighting the inadequacy of what she's been given, whether materially, emotionally, or spiritually, to fix the mess she's in. Overall, this verse is a mix of fury, exhaustion, and sharp wit. Amos is staring down the performative appreciation of deep women while exposing the raw, messy reality beneath. It's about being tired of screaming into voids, tired of being romanticized instead of understood, and tired of trying to make do with scraps when what she really needs is something far greater. The bridge is where Tori Amos lays bare the exhaustion of waiting to be understood and the fear of slowly disappearing under the weight of unexpressed emotions. She starts with, "Years go by, will I still be waiting for somebody else to understand?" a heartbreaking question that cuts to the core of loneliness. It's not just about wanting to be heard. It's about the draining reality of hoping year after year that someone will finally see you for who you are. There's a quiet desperation here, the kind that comes from realizing you might spend your whole life misunderstood. Then she shifts to years go by if I'm stripped of my beauty and the orange clouds raining in my head, which feels like a confrontation with aging and internal chaos. Beauty here could mean literal physical beauty and society's obsession with it, but it could also symbolize her voice, her creativity, or her spirit, things that might fade or be taken from her over time. The orange clouds raining in my head is such a vivid, almost surreal image. It could represent depression, confusion, or the storm of thoughts that never quiet down. It's like she's picturing herself years later, still trapped in her own mind with no relief in sight. The line, years go by while I choke on my tears, till finally there is nothing left, is raw and visceral. Choking on tears suggests emotions so overwhelming they become suffocating, and the idea of there being nothing left paints a picture of complete emotional depletion. It's not just sadness, it's the fear of being eroded by it, of crying so much that you dissolve into nothing. And then comes the devastating resignation of one more casualty, we're too easy, easy, easy. This feels like a commentary on how often women or marginalized voices are worn down into silence, becoming just another casualty of a world that doesn't listen. The repetition of easy is bitter. It's too easy to ignore us, too easy to break us, too easy to let us disappear. This bridge is a moment of stark vulnerability where Amos questions whether anything will ever change or if she'll just keep fading year after year until there's nothing left to say. It's a cry against the way society treats pain as something to be endured quietly, and a haunting reminder of what happens when screams stay silent for too long. In verse 3, Tori-Amos crafts a scene brimming with biting irony and role reversal, exposing the vulnerability of judgment while flipping the power dynamic. The opening line, well, I love the way we communicate. Your eyes focus on my funny lip shape, drips with sarcasm. It's a jab at shallow, performative attention where someone claims to listen but is really just fixated on surface quirks, like the shape of her lips, rather than what she's actually saying. This sets the tone for a verse that's all about being scrutinized and then turning the tables. The line, let's hear what you think of me now, but baby, don't look up. The sky is falling, is loaded with metaphor and dark humor. She's almost daring the listener to judge her, but with a warning. The sky is falling suggests impending chaos or consequences, like the weight of their criticism is about to backfire. It could also hint at the absurdity of their judgments in the face of larger existential crisis. The Chicken Little reference adds a childlike, almost mocking tone, as if to say, go ahead and nitpick me while the world falls apart. Then, the scene shifts to your mother shows up in a nasty dress, which feels like a sudden, almost theatrical intrusion. The nasty dress could symbolize hypocrisy, outdated ideals, or the baggage of familial judgment, something ugly disrupting the moment. When Amos sings, and it's your turn now to stand where I stand, it's a moment of poetic justice. Suddenly, the person who's been critiquing her is thrust into the spotlight, forced to endure the same scrutiny. The power dynamic flips, and the once judgmental figure is now the one under the microscope. The closing lines, everybody looking at you, Here, take hold of my hand. Yeah, I can hear them. Are hauntingly empathetic yet triumphant. She offers her hand not just as a lifeline, but as a mirror. Now you feel what I feel. The I can hear them echoes earlier verses, but this time it's not just her being gossiped about. It's them, the judges, finally understanding what it's like to be dissected. It's a quiet victory, a moment of solidarity and shared vulnerability, but also a reminder that no one escapes the gaze of others forever. This verse is a masterclass in turning pain into power. Amos takes the experience of being judged, magnifies it to the point of absurdity, the sky is falling, and then forces the critic to walk in her shoes. It's cathartic, darkly funny, and deeply human, a reminder that everyone cracks under scrutiny eventually.